Have you guys seen how outrageous homeowners insurance premiums are getting? I don't know if you're a current homeowner, maybe your current insurance carrier, they're jacking up your premiums, or maybe you're out shopping around, you're trying to buy a house and you're realizing how expensive homeowners insurance has gotten recently. In this video, I'm gonna go over some ways that you can minimize your homeowners insurance premium by following some of these steps that I'm about to talk about. Are you thinking about buying a house, but you need help with your down payment? Well, you're not alone, and I've got you covered. I've created the ultimate down payment assistance guide, which is available for you to download for free below. I'm telling you, this guide will save you hours and hours of research. Hope you like it. But before we dive in, let's talk about why exactly is homeowners insurance getting so freaking expensive? I mean, seriously, over the last couple of years, it's substantially increased, and this year, it's gotten even worse. So why is this happening? Well, the first thing is the insurance companies, they've taken massive losses on all sorts of things, from hurricanes to fires to floods. I mean, they're just getting it every way from Sunday. And at the end of the day, insurance companies, they're in the business to make money. They're a business after all, right? And so if they're losing money, they gotta raise the premiums, otherwise they're gonna go out of business. It's just economics. In order for an insurance carrier to raise premiums that they charge to consumers, they have to actually get that approved with the state insurance commissioner. They have a set rate that they're allowed to charge basically, and they cannot exceed that amount. And even though their losses are piling up, the insurance commissioner's not exactly working with them on raising these rates. And so you're seeing companies like State Farm, Allstate, these massive companies literally deciding to exit, meaning not do business anymore in the state of California. They've pulled out of Florida. You're seeing all over the country where basically they're getting hammered really hard and the state is not allowing them to mitigate risk and to basically balance out their costs. They're pulling out. They got to, otherwise they're gonna go out of business. So what we're seeing is basically, like, even if you're in a low risk area, like you're in a residential neighborhood, it's never gonna flood there, no earthquakes, all that stuff. It's just like a low risk area. Your policies are even going up. The premiums are costing more because the insurance carriers, they gotta balance the budget. They gotta balance out their risk. And unfortunately, the lower risk people, they're gonna start subsidizing the higher risk people a lot more, and that's what we've seen. So tell me what you think about this. Wouldn't it just make more sense to let the insurance carriers charge what they need to charge in order to stay in business, and people can choose to do business with them or not do business with them? But instead, the state's not allowing them that option. What do you think about that? Put it in the comments below, I'd love to hear it. So another reason premiums are getting so expensive, the average age of a home in the United States is 40 years. It varies, you know, state by state, but it comes out to about 40 years is the average age of a home. Well, the older the home is, the more it costs to insure it. Why? When I first heard this, I thought, well, wait a minute, why would it cost more to insure something that's older than newer? Isn't the newer thing better? Well, when you think about building codes and you go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, or maybe even longer, were the building codes in your local jurisdiction, were they the same as what they are today? Absolutely not. And if you're in a more progressive area, they're wildly different, which means that the insurance company, when they are paying to rebuild the home, because that's what your insurance premium is based off of, is the cost to rebuild the house. So when they're factoring that in, they also have to factor in that they got to bring everything up to code. So if your house was built in the 70s, holy cow, they got all sorts of things that they need to do in order to bring it up to code and to be able to pass inspection and all that stuff. That all costs money, right? It's gotta come from somewhere. Speaking of rebuild costs, have we heard of this thing called inflation? I mean, think about how much has the cost of cement, a 2x4, I mean, everything costs more. Labor is also costing more. So the cost to rebuild the house, just the raw materials and the workers to do it, is costing insurance companies more, and ultimately they got to pass that on to you and everybody else in order to stay in business. So all of these things are getting baked into the insurance premiums that you and I are receiving when we request quotes from ABC Insurance. Hey, do me a favor, if you're getting value out of this, smash that like button for me, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you get more content like this. All right, so let's now dive into some things that you can do to minimize your insurance premium, even in light of all the stuff that's going on that's raising the cost. There are things that people can do in order to minimize those expenses. So let's get into that. All right, so the first thing is you need to go with a higher deductible, in my opinion. The odds of you making a homeowner's insurance claim are relatively low. So according to the Insurance Information Institute, they say that the average homeowner that has homeowner's insurance, because not everybody's got it, if you got a mortgage, they're gonna make you have it, but 40% of homes are free and clear, so not everybody has insurance, believe it or not. But out of those that do, 1 out of every 20 make a claim each year. So you're talking 5%. And if you're in a lower risk area, it's gonna be even lower than that. So are the odds in your favor or against you that you're gonna end up making a claim? In my opinion, you're not gonna make a claim most likely before it makes sense for you to pay a higher premium. Instead of paying the insurance company a higher premium each year so that you can make a lower deductible in that 1 out of a 20 chance that you're gonna do it, instead, jack up that deductible. A lot of times it's like instead of $1,000, you can go $2,500, or I've seen some up to like $20,000 depending on the purchase price of the house. Obviously, you need to do what makes sense for your own budget, but you will see that if you increase that deductible, the annual premium will go down. So do the math, figure out, hey, what are the odds of me making a claim? What do I feel about this? How much money do I have saved up? Because you got to think about this as well. When events happen, you're not always going to elect to make a claim on your homeowner's insurance. You may choose, like I've done this in my own personal life in my house, where I've paid for it myself because I didn't feel like it was worth making a claim and then having my premium go up for eternity for like 7 or more years in exchange for, the insurance company to pay for whatever it was that I needed fixed. So odds are really low that you're gonna make a claim, so you might as well jack up that deductible so you save more on an annual basis up front. So the second thing that you can do in order to get your premium down is to bundle your home and auto insurance together. I mean, that's, kind of obvious, right? You give them more business, they're gonna give you a little bit of a discount. So that's always a good way to go if you're trying to get a lower insurance premium. Just put it all together, you'll get a better deal. All right, so the third thing that you need to do to get a lower premium, you gotta shop around. Don't just go with the first place. Don't go with the place that you've always been with. Don't do what's comfortable. Shop around, because prices are gonna vary all over the place. Insurance companies have different risk models, different thresholds, different prices, products, all that stuff. They like being in certain areas where others don't. And so depending on the insurance company that you're talking to, the amount that they're gonna charge you to do business is gonna vary wildly. So you gotta look around, you gotta do your shopping. Just like when shopping for a mortgage, like New Way Mortgage, reach out to us if you want to get quotes on interest rates. Shop around. All right, so the fourth thing that you want to make sure that you're doing when trying to get a lower premium is to work with an insurance broker, a lot like a mortgage broker, like New Way Mortgage. We're not tied to one lender. We shop across dozens of lenders to find the lender that has the best deal for you. Well, an insurance broker does the same thing, except with insurance carriers. So instead of being like State Farm and selling what is on the shelf at State Farm, which is, by the way, only State Farm products, instead you go to an insurance broker and they may have dozens of carriers that they have access to. And like I said before, not all carriers are the same. Some are gonna like certain markets, some will not like certain markets or properties or whatever, and you're gonna ultimately get a better deal when you shop around. And it's a heck of a lot easier to do that when you get your insurance through somebody whose business model is to shop around. Just like getting a mortgage with New Way Mortgage, where we shop around with lenders. Same thing. All right, so the last two things that you can do to get a lower premium, these aren't gonna be so much in your control because part of it's geographic. I mean, you can only go so far. And also there's only so much housing stock available in these said areas. And so you may not have these options, but if you can avoid high risk areas. So if you're looking in a high fire zone, maybe you want to look outside of that high fire zone. hurricanes, floods, all of those things that ultimately add risk to the insurance carrier that most likely they're gonna have to pay out on claims. So if you can avoid those areas, you're gonna pay a lower premium, even though you're gonna be subsidizing all the high-risk people with a higher premium than what you would have without them. But it is what it is. That's just the way it works. The other thing that you can do is get a newer house or a brand new house. But basically, the newer the house, the cheaper the insurance is gonna be. Because remember, I was talking about the building codes and replacing everything. You know, the newer the home, the more likely it is that everything is up to code, which means that it's less expensive for the insurance carrier to rebuild the property. Hey, by the way, if you're looking for a house or you need a refinance, if you wanna work with me and my team, I'd love to help you out. We're a mortgage broker with over 20 years of experience helping people navigate the home buying and refinancing process. You can get a hold of us in the contact info below or just reach out on the phone, talk, text anytime. And if you haven't already, make sure to tap that like button, leave me some comments, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon.